freshmen. A good portion of you sophomores, juniors, a pretty decent spread. Seniors, we don't care. All right. So I'm Mike Sheets. I'm a senior here. I will be graduating this May, and as of right now, I will be going to Collins Aerospace. And I know that there's at least 3 other people here who are there as well. I sat across from you. He's on my senior design team. There's a bunch of us there. But my freshman year, I started working at Wanable Incorporated, which is a startup, and the entire dev team was actually from here. And I was the 4th person on that team writing code. And we managed pretty much everything in-house. And so I got to do a lot of stuff. And then I eventually transitioned over to Milwaukee Tool my junior year, where I got to be on the architecture and DevOps team before transitioning to Collins Aerospace. So the cool thing with being able to work so much while in school was that I've actually worked the career fair and I've interviewed a lot of students here. And so I got to have this really kind of like backdoor view to what it's like to be on the other side of the desk and actually talk to people like that. And I kind of want to transfer some of that knowledge to you, so you can transfer that into other MSOE students, graduates, and as alumni, you can look back and help other people. So, kind of restating it, my objective here is that MSOE is known in the area for being awesome. We turn out really good workers, hard workers, and intelligent, fast workers. And I think that by getting meaningful internships as early as possible in your career here, the better. You're going to be a better student, you're going to be a better worker, you're going to be more in touch with what industry wants from you, and you're going to understand why you're learning some of the things you're learning. And I want to help you improve that MSOE image, because it also makes me look good. When people see like, oh, you went to MSOE, they're awesome. But this is the kind of the roadmap for talking to a company and like that whole courtship process, where you make contact. I want you to spend some time really understanding, kind of learning, doing some research. What does the company want? What are they trying to accomplish in life? And then actually performing that follow-up, connecting with somebody that you talked to originally, and then eventually transitioning to the interview, and if necessary, the follow-up after that. And this is a very, very loose. It might go faster than this. It might take a little longer. I've had my job for Collins Aerospace took months for it to actually follow all the way through. And I've also heard of people getting their job offered that day at the career fair. So it just depends on what time of year it is, where they are in their hiring cycle. But I want to talk about actually presenting yourself as an underclassman to our prospective employer. The first thing I noticed when I was interviewing students at the career fair was that everybody walked up and was like, do you have an internship? Do you have an internship? Do you have an internship? They didn't care about anything I had to say, what my company was about, what mattered to us, nothing. All they wanted to know is whether we had an internship. And that is the most impersonal way you could approach somebody. Truly try to approach somebody and say like, is this the kind of company that I can get behind? Does their team reflect what I want to do? And can I bring something to them? But one of the things that makes us really awesome interns is how much schooling we get done the first 2 years. When you go to your freshman year career fair, you've been in your first computer class for a month. You have almost no knowledge. It's hard to actually show that to anybody, because what do you know? A little bit of Java? And that's not enough to really feel confident. And the stereotypical software engineer is very introverted, quiet, awkward. And what I want you guys to start doing is not to be that way. Stand up, look at yourself in the mirror, clean yourself up, and remind yourself that we're awesome, that we're going to work really hard at what we do, and that's why we're so awesome. And then also, don't limit yourself to the career fair. The career fair is a great place to meet like local companies, bigger companies, but it is not the only place to meet. You guys just found out about an internship right here today at this meetup. I've gone, go to local meetups, go to web meetups, go to machine learning meetups, there's so many of them out there. Facebook groups, meetup.com. Go there. I've presented internship jobs that are open at those places, and if some student would have been there, they would have known about it. Not just some perspective, or like maybe they have an internship, they actually positions we wanted to fill. So start going to those. If anything, you're going to gain knowledge from being there, and you're going to gain confidence in actually speaking about what you know. And be genuine about it. Don't just run up to everybody who looks like they might shake your hand and give them a card and a resume and walk away. Make a connection. Talk to them. Find out, is this the kind of place I want to go and want to learn and be with, and do I want to grow with? After you've made that initial contact and you've walked away, I want you to go back and learn something. Go Google that company. Go Google, or talk to them about like what kind of stack do they use and the technologies that they're using. Languages, frameworks, whatever it might be. Whether it's a website, whether it's just a low-level embedded system. And if you don't know, GitHub is free for students. Go sign up for the Student Developer Pack. You get a ton of technology for free. You can host websites for free. You can do all sorts of stuff. Start making private repos, learn some stuff, do some things, do a little technology, do everything. And then when you go talk to them again, they're going to see that you actually weren't just saying you wanted to learn, that you actually did it. That's part of that being genuine thing. Actually try to learn. Show them that you are willing to go above and beyond without reward to learn. So the next part with this is that follow-up. If they don't just immediately follow you up, and when you're a freshman or sophomore, they probably won't. Because it's hard to stand out on paper when you're that early into your career. But because you made that real connection with somebody at the career fair, you actually talked to somebody at a meetup, they're going to remember you. They're going to talk to you. They're going to want to like continue that conversation and that personal development. Don't just come straight out and be like, hey, I talked to you last week, can I have a job? That's, you gotta like woo it a little bit more than that. You gotta give it some finesse. But don't beat around the bush. Don't sit there and not just like, hey, it's real nice talking to you. Actually ask them. Like, but don't just come straight out and do it. It's a little bit of that word back and forth stuff. You gotta talk to them, you know? Once you actually get back into an interview, show off. Look what I've done. Yeah, I made a GitHub and I learned some stuff that you told me you wanted to learn. The first company I worked at, we did a lot of e-commerce. And we hired another intern after me. And the reason he got the job, the biggest thing that set him head and shoulders above everyone else, because he was the only person who had started up a repo and learned a little bit of Rails. Only person to do it. Put him head and shoulders above everyone else. And this is also where it goes into kind of like the overview of everything I've been talking about, but I haven't said it yet, is that soft skills are just as important to many employers as your hard skills. And I think it's even more so for an internship. They know they're going to train you. They know that your training is not complete. They know that they're not going to give you hard business critical stuff until you've gotten to that point. They know that. What they want though is they want somebody who's going to actually learn and grow and make their team better and make you better in turn. So this is part of that thing about stepping out of your shell. Don't be so introverted. Make real connections. And when you do that, actually remember them. Don't just go out and talk to 500 people and hand out 400 resumes. Actually remember who you talked to. If you have to walk away from like the whole hustle and bustle of the career fair to like write down some quick notes, this is what this person was doing, this is what we talked about, these are some things, review them before you call them back. Review them before you go and do an interview. More often than not, when you go into an interview, you're not going to talk to the same person you talked to at a career fair. They might have one developer there, two developers, but most of the time it's HR. It's the people who are in charge of hiring, and they're not going to be the ones to give you a technical interview. So do it again. Make your connection with your new interviewer. But out of all of this, show them that you're passionate and that you want to learn and that you're working so hard right now at MSOE and you want to continue doing that elsewhere. And then this one, I'm going to kind of breeze over very quickly. There's a ton of stuff out there for how to do a post-interview follow-up. I've heard of people, one of the guys I worked with, he got the job because they talked, like him and the person he was interviewing with talked about boats. And he sent him a postcard with a boat on it. It said like, hopefully I hear back from you. I can't wait to set sail with the new company. Cheese ball, super cheese ball. But you know what? It worked, and it made him stand out, and it got him the job. But it's one of those things that you can't make those genuine connections. You can't make those laughy, happy moments between each other until you make those kind of real connections. So step out of your safe space and try and make friends out there. And if you guys are not good at public speaking or talking to somebody you've never met before, I recommend going to a meetup for something like the Toastmasters where you actually learn how to speak on the fly, learn how to talk to people, come up and give a lightning talk. It's not a big deal. You're among a bunch of peers, and it's a good way to start practicing. Maybe one day you'll be the person out in front of a convention giving a presentation on some new exciting technology that you've been working on, or going in front of another set of alumni or students and asking for people to like look at your company for jobs. So that's pretty much all I have for you. And are there any real questions?
So, how did you get started at Wanable?
So the biggest thing with Wanable was that I had gone out of my way to learn web systems before I came here. So I had done some HTML, CSS, a very minor JavaScript and jQuery, and I'd also done some PHP and Drupal. So when I actually started looking at, like when they showed me their technical stuff, like this is what a Rails application looks like, I was like, oh, I recognize a lot of this stuff. And I was able to connect with the person I was interviewing with because we both had kids, we were talking about lots of stuff. That's another thing, by the way. If you guys are talking about anything but the interview, it's going well. My interview for Milwaukee Tool, I was interviewing with like 6 people for 3 hours. We talked about quadcopters and 3D printers the whole time. Because we did nothing about like technical skill. We talked, answered some questions like, yeah, you know what you're talking about. Now let's be friends. That's probably the biggest. It's a lot easier to hire a friend. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm gonna say if you guys have any other questions, we're actually gonna jump into a panel with more than Michael up here. So that's a good transition for that.
Awesome.
Additionally, real quick before we get into that, if you just want to sit down,
Yeah.
free. So Michael talked about a lot of kind of hard, soft skill nuances that have to deal with the interview process. So I'm gonna plug it again, the mock interviews. Just nice to practice talking and practice being around other people and talking about yourself. But anyways, on to the panel. So